Hello everyone, welcome to the British Championships. Obviously you've been playing it all day. I hope you're having a good time. Woo! Start with a cheer, it's always good. So I've popped along today to do a little Q&A. So we're going to go through a few little bits of what we're going on at the moment. It's not going to be as spoilerific as last time, but there is some quite juicy things in there, so don't worry. Yeah, don't go yet. It's worth watching, okay? Matt Hart hasn't seen this, so because he's currently in France on a holiday, so hopefully I don't get myself in too much trouble here. So there we go. So we're going to start off with, there we go, some new chibi cards. Ooh, okay, so yeah, the chibis are not going anywhere anytime soon. Love them or hate them or whichever in between. Obviously, we got Ferron and Fahad there, but all the Season 2 chibis will be appearing during the course of probably next year, mainly. They'll start to appear out. We've had all the artwork done for them, and we're probably going to get the rest of Season 1 models done as well. So we've got some big plans for the chibis. They're pretty cool. I'm a massive chibi fan, so yeah. Matt is not a massive chibi fan, but tough, to be honest, really. Let's go for another spoiler. Let's go for that. Ooh, this one's a bit interesting. Okay, so this confirms something that maybe people have been thinking about that might be happening. There is 2 6-man boxes coming for the farmers and the blacksmiths at some point early next year. So 2 6-man. So yeah. So you've had 1 6-man. Obviously the blacksmith one's just been announced to be at Gen Con. But there'll be 2 more to increase it. So it's going to be a 12-man roster on both. Okay. So which is kind of cool. Yeah. So they'll be coming. I think the schedule for early Q1 next year. They're going to appear. You never know. They might appear at SteamCon. Maybe. As a pre-release. Okay. Maybe if they get here on time, okay. That's a legitimate maybe. So this guy here is called Alloy. So do you want to give a bit of a backstory, Sherwin?
Yeah. So Alloy is a Huskar, a sort of retainer. His family is someone who's sort of indebted to the Blacksmiths Guild for a long period of their sort of history. And it's someone who is used for various different nefarious kind of sort of under-the-counter kind of dealings. So assassin, thug, anything you want it to be, really. That's pretty much all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Not too spoiler there. Not too bad. Okay. Should we get another one? Yeah? All right. Ooh, a farmer. Okay. So this attractive young woman is called Fallow. Okay. And again, Sherwin, do you want to give us a little overview of Fallow? Do you want to do a Fallow? You are the farmer, man.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Okay. You want to talk about your dad and farmers again?
Yeah, so my dad, right. No, so Fallow is a woman who, for a very long time, her husband went off and fought and died in the Century Wars. And she was left to run a farm by herself for a very long time. And she is fundamentally a very pragmatic person. Like, that is the underpinning kind of character trait. Is like, so, how deep do I get into farmer talk here? Because, see, on a farm, you need to be pragmatic. You need to, try and save an animal's life and know when it's worth keeping that alive. And you need to be fiercely sort of protective of that animal until you realise it's not worth keeping alive, at which point you have to, And really, that's the main sort of thing that she has sort of tried to... That's the main sort of thing about her character that she has learned, because she is a very sort of independent character who has looked after herself her entire life. And now she's come and joined the Guild Ball world, and she brings that same sort of mix of protectiveness to the pitch.
I hope Petter are not after us now. Well, that's not good. Yeah. How about a stat card? Would anyone like to see a stat card of someone that's now? Yeah, I thought you might. Okay. Should we shut it down now? Okay. Well, what about another farmer that you haven't seen yet? Okay. Go on, Rice. Oh.
I just like them all staring.
Just staring. So this is the ploughman. Okay. So this is where everyone runs to the screens, having a look. Okay. So Bryce is going to talk you through the ploughman and some of his abilities. He is a wicked model, by the way, so absolutely wicked. He has literally got a giant plow on his shoulders. Both this model and Fallow have been teased through our blog. If you haven't seen it, steamforgedgames.com, or steamforged.com, sorry. You'll see that there have been teasers there that Mr. Giblin's been putting up, so this is one of them.
So Plowman is he is essentially he's a planter, but he's the quintessential planter in terms of when you're playing the Farmers Guild, you want your planters to go first in the turn because they need to put down the harvest markers to buff your other models. And Plowman makes all your other planters more efficient because of his fertile soil rule. So he can put out rough ground AoEs, and if another planter puts down a harvest marker in that rough ground AoE, you get to put down another harvest marker. So he doesn't create harvest markers himself, but he multiplies the effect of all of your planters and makes them more efficient. So he's just a really cool model that works really well if maybe you only want to bring a couple of planters. Like he can... he's another 2-inch melee zone, which is also very cool, but he just multiplies any planter you bring and makes them much more efficient. And also he can spam rough ground all over the place, which is very annoying for some teams. And he has a role called Tilled Earth, where he can let friendly models use gliding for free. So he basically can put down rough terrain, make the board more difficult for the enemy, and make that rough ground like clear passage for his friendly troops. And that's basically what he does.
22 health as well.
Yeah, also 22 health. Although of course he has a farmer, so he's Death 3, Arm 0. And of course he has Mud Concealer, which is a rule. The only place we've used it before was on Chaska, I think. And so that does get him up to Death 3 Arm 1, which for farmers is a pretty okay stat line. And of course he's got on counter-attacks, he's got attack 5 with a double push on 3 and a single push on 2. And he can just put out rough terrain on a counter-attack because that's quite funny. When me and Sherwin actually were talking about this model, because originally we envisioned this as a guy with a plowshare, like one sort of blade of a plow, and we got the art back and we coined the term war plow, because Jesus, look at that. That is outstanding. So he's just awesome. I love him. He's really awesome.
He's pretty wicked. And the good thing about these, obviously, we've got these 6-man sets to additionals. They will also come with a ball and a terrain piece and a goal as well. So it'll be very similar to exactly what you've seen already with the farmers and the blacksmith ones. So this is going to be the de facto for us going forward when releasing these sets. So if you just get into the game, you can pick either setup, etc. So it's really nice kind of entry point for people. Now, we've got a little SteamCon, kind of a little teaser for SteamCon. So if we go to the next one. Now, if anyone remembers this character, okay, so this was done, one of the unique things of SteamCon last year was that we designed a character from scratch, literally at the show. So we had a few seminars, we talked about the Rat Catchers Guild in one, then we designed Skulk, which is this guy. We then 3D printed it overnight, and then we actually painted it, and I pro painted, and then by the end of the Sunday it was there done, which I don't think any con has done it since, and don't think anyone will. We're going to do this again, this show, and we did say at the time that this model would be available at SteamCon, so I can confirm now, because I've seen murmurs around, that Skulk will be there. He's actually in the welcome pack, so you're all going to get a free Skulk, anyone who's coming to SteamCon, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So there's plenty of goodies in that as well. But yeah, he's a wicked model. This isn't an alt sculpt, he's going to be called. Okay. And that kind of rounds us up to a bit of a Q&A section now. So a nice small one today. But now we'll open the floor to any questions that you guys have got. So. That's a really good question. So the question was, would Skulk be a union model, or what is he? So as I said, I'll just defer to what we said last time, that he was designed at SteamCon last year. We'll do the same process this year. And next question.
Can we have a round of applause for Locks for remembering?
He's a playable model, yeah.
After it was asked, I thought I was going to have to remind you.
No, I remember that one. Yeah.
I recognize the the broken Union Fist symbol on 2 bases already. Okay. Can you tell a little bit about the backstory of this? I mean, at the base of Grace, there's a broken Union Fist. At the base of the new Blacksmith model, Cinder,
yep.
There's a broken Union Fist kind of thing.
Yep.
So
what's the backstory?
The Union. broken off the game?
So the question is, what is there any backstory behind the broken Union symbols on the base of a couple of models we've seen in the game now, Grace being one of them?
Wait and see.
You're not having that one yet. But there is, they've been purposely put there. It's not an oversized, it's specific for the game. So, okay.
Will there be more fluff coming out, or will we have to wait for the season 4 book?
Good question. So the question was, will there be more fluff coming out, or are we going to have to wait for the season 4 book? So I can answer this one. So we're trying to move towards putting the fluff, as you've probably seen, through the blog more. So we're going to keep the blog going and have that as kind of an ongoing thing, so we can go to it, get the constant stories, and then what we'll probably look to do is then amalgamate that all into the season books and potentially a compendium. We've said it several times that Sherwin's got a hell of a lot of work that he's done, to make these stories, and there's a big interest in the stories. I think it'd be quite nice to put it in a big book that's nicely, guilt bound and things like that. So I think that's the plan. When it lands with the massive stuff we got to do, not entirely sure, but definitely the blog's going to be the port of call for getting these stories and that. So. Yes.
Obviously, we had Bush's Civil War last year, and we know that something of that kind of thing is happening. How far away are we from the general public finding out what the thing is that will presumably be leading up to Steamforged?
So the question is regarding to last year, we did the Civil War, which was super successful, which allowed you guys to impact literally what happened in the story of Guild Ball. And when are we going to do something like that again? Or if we are, when's it coming out, basically? So we can give you a little sneak today, I'd say. I think Sherwin can give you a little bit. I'm letting trust in Sherwin here to not go too far.
Well, time frame, I've kind of written that. It's going through editing now. I think we're looking at doing it in the run-up to SteamCon again this year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Apparently we're putting out more information after Gen Con.
I'm deferring to the social media guys there. So yeah, just after Gen Con, you're going to see the run-up of what we're doing there. So what I can say is, from a production standpoint, a lot of things I've seen, it's going to be wickedly cool. If you thought the last one was good, this one's going to be insanely good. So it's super, super exciting. So, yes.
Go to the errata. Avarice and greed.
Yeah.
Just the thing. 'Cause you change them dramatically. I love them because they fit nicely. Because they're so dramatic, other people got slightly tweaked. Had they always been along those lines, like a potential, they could have gone that way, and you went that way for season 3, that sort of point?
Okay, so the questions regarding avarice and greed and the errata and what we did to them and kind of why, what was our thinking behind that. So I can answer some of this because I did the original design way back when with Matt. I think there's a couple of models way back in season 1, 2 that you kind of design at that stage. We were very new to, we literally made it ourselves up out of nothing, from Skype calls in a bedroom. And I think avarice and greed were one of them that just added the rule, the extra activation, that just the repercussions of that are quite significant in the game. And as the game evolved and people started playing, a lot of people started playing, it was clear that the feedback was that this is something of concern for us. I think the other one would be true replication, was a good example, again, of a rule that when we designed it, it creates a really fun and engaging activity, but it just had the ability to snowball a little bit. So I think with the errata, what we're trying to do is just bring those models back in line to what we always say at Steamforged, is that we never want a negative play experience. We want fun interactions, really cool things to happen. We don't want that negative play experience. If you can't play against something, then that's a really bad experience. We want everyone to turn up and always feel like they can do something in the game. And I think avarice and greed, we're definitely getting to the point where, whether you'd work out the auto goal turn and stuff like that. It just wasn't, it wasn't fun. It wasn't what they were intended to be. And I think the new version now is really representative of where they should be, basically. So. Yes.
How many of these do I have to attend until we get veteran captain sold?
So the question.
Hold on, I've got a tally.
Yeah. So the obligatory veteran captain salt, when's it going to happen? Question from Tom. I can give you a little teaser, maybe. This is interesting for you. So I've seen a sculpt that is not the current salt sculpt. I'm not saying any more than that. But I've actually, to tell you what, I'll go further. I've seen 2 salt sculpts. Not saying anymore, but there is definitely 2 salt sculpts, and we may, you know, maybe one day, you know. April Fool's is a nice day, right? Yes.
A little bit far away, but is there any more development towards doing alternate models? You know, like your models you had sculpted for
Yeah.
Vengeance?
Yeah.
Doing the alternate, you know, like Solstice models or anything along the lines of that?
Okay.
Any more progress on that?
So the question is there any developments on the alternate sculpts of existing models, basically? So in reference to the ones that I was personally using at Vengeance, which was like the Gutter and the Decimate, which people saw. So the answer is yes, there's been progress in the background. The other answer is you're probably not going to see some of that until next year. But there's definitely, you know, we're looking at our range, we're looking at possibilities, you know, and we're looking at exactly, you know, where we're going. So the answer is yes, but I can't do any more than that for now. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Obviously, the majority of Share are big fans of Sherwin's work, so maybe more questions for Sherwin. And it may have been asked at Vengeance, I apologise if it was, because I was picking up and I can't remember. Has there been any thoughts, or is there anything you've got? It's looking at them doing, having the story done in an audio format, maybe as a podcast. Like recently, I've been listening to a podcast which is called Breachside Broadcast. It's basically Malifaux's story being read. Not because I'm too lazy to read, but just because.
Yep.
That sounds good.
So the question is, are we ever going to audiobook any of the story, basically? Yeah. So, I mean, the answer is we'd love to. Again, like it'd be a great thing, but on the list of the massive list of things we've got to do, unfortunately, right now, it's just not at the top. As we develop as a team and get bigger, more opportunities going to come around for us to actually explore what we can do. So we'd definitely, you know, be wicked. Like I'm a massive fan of audiobooks, so yeah.
Non-Guild Ball related question.
Yeah.
Last year at Steamforged, you announced a new game in the early stages of development, some kind of souls falling down from the sky, splinters everywhere, and how far is it gone?
Okay, so the question, this is the question that got me in trouble, this one. So the question is, we announced the new IP, original IP of ours last year at SteamCon that we were working on, and we did a little teaser image and a bit of talk about what that could be about. How far has that gone? What I can say is quite significant. You know, we've had a lot of development, so I know there's artwork already in place. There's sculpts that have already been done. So I would definitely say SteamCon is going to be a very, very interesting SteamCon. And that's probably as far I can get without...
I think if you wanted to give a literal measurement, it's been about 8,000 miles.
Yeah, about 8,000 miles of development. Yeah, that's about all right. Okay. So SteamCon is gonna be off the chart this year in the US and UK. So yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'll get you head in a sec. Sorry. Go.
Regarding SteamCon.
Yeah.
One of my mates missed out on tickets.
Yes.
Like, really desperate to get a ticket. Is there a time frame on when they're likely to
Yeah.
release all?
So the question is, SteamCon. Oh damn, we missed the instant sellout that we pretty much had. Is there more tickets going to be available? The answer is get yourself on the waiting list. That is the, yeah, like that one. Yeah. So get yourself on the waiting list and, you know, have a look on Monday because it might be worth getting on before then. Because they,
So well.
I know. But yeah, just get on that waiting list. You know, we're working with the venue. Obviously, we've got capacities and things we can literally physically fit in, but we want to get as many people to SteamCon UK and US as possible. So we're working hard, and hopefully, if you're on that waiting list, then some good news may come around Monday.
Nice, you covered that one.
Covered, yeah. Hanging. Just saying. Ed.
With the drop-off is there going to be a drop-off and release of single models with a move to the 6-man box sets and obviously the plastic sets in the future? and obviously releasing a lot of escalation packs and other things with special models. We're going to see single models only in these special instances. And
Okay, that's a good question. So the question was, are we going to be dropping off, because obviously we're doing a lot of these 6-man sets now, are we going to drop off from the individual models that we've been doing in the past, so maybe 1 or 2 model releases a month rather than a 6-man guild a month, essentially? So the answer is yes. We're moving to the 6-man teams format. This is what the format we like. The other answer is we're definitely, especially going into next year, we're not going to be dropping off on the amount of releases per month, which is an interesting one. Okay, so rock that around your heads for a second. But we definitely, so what we will be doing, if we want to do single models, like Lucky's a good example, there may be, options through our organised play, things like that, to actually do some single models, and SteamCon, obviously you're seeing Skulk there, etc. Yeah.
I've got some store credit in the old store. Can I still use that?
So Henry's, I've got a good. It's good, all right. So Henry's got a question about the old store and new store. Obviously, if you haven't checked it out, if you go to steamforged.com or steamforged.com, you'll see we've got a brand new web store, which is super slick and works on mobiles and is just pretty incredible. If you got store credit on the old store, is it still usable? The answer is yes, because what we are going to say is that if you have, and we haven't put the announcement out yet, but if you've got store credit in the old store, if you drop us an email, we'll transfer that to the brand new store. Simple as that. So we're going to honour it. Don't worry. We're not just going to stiff you. So yeah. Yes.
About positions. Most teams in the Guild Ball world have like strikers and midfielders and what have you, but only very few that we've seen have goalkeepers. Is that because we just haven't seen them in the background, or because there's no intention to ever have a goalkeeper? Just that seems to be missing from the teams.
That's a tough question. So the question is about the positions on cards. So attackers, defenders, etc. There's not many with the goalkeeper one. Is there a reason for this? Are we purposely that? Yeah, Sherwin's gonna.
So from a fluff perspective, and I'll pass over to Bryce for the other bit in a moment. So Guild Ball is still kind of in its formative years as a sport in our world. So something like a goalkeeper isn't traditionally a position that's always been filled by every team. So it's something where, if you look at the sort of first generation of goalkeepers, they are a genuinely new position that's become available to some teams. So it's inevitable as the guilds kind of carry on going, as they sort of continue to evolve what they do. Exactly as we have in Guild Ball, it's always ever moving on. We probably will see more goalkeepers and that sort of thing. Just because someone hasn't been mentioned in the background probably means there's not a physical goalkeeper in that team yet. But we've seen plenty of characters come into our guilds and take a new position. Granite's a great example of the enforcer thing for the Masons, for example. So by all means, there's in the background, it's very possible. And Bryce?
The other sort of half of that answer is simply that for some guilds, from a development point of view, we want them to have access to goalkeepers. And it fits both for the butchers. Like the butchers are perhaps a perfect example that in a game of Guild Ball in the fluff, they're just killing you, right? And they sort of want to do as much as they can to disregard the ball, and so having a goalkeeper makes perfect sense because they're like, you deal with the ball, we'll go kill people. You know what I mean? We don't and that makes sense from a fluff and from a rule standpoint, and that's really just it. Is that not every guild should have access or needs access to a goalkeeper, but the guilds that do have access to it, we have, that has been a deliberate consideration to give some guilds goalkeepers and other guilds not goalkeepers. And that doesn't mean the ones that don't have goalkeepers will never have one. It's just that they weren't part of the sort of first wave.
Veteran Captain Salt, just saying. Any other question? Yeah.
One of Mike's asking about Lucky, and Pundit obviously the card, but obviously when it's going to be released to the general public.
So the question is about Lucky and when the card's gonna be released to the general public, basically, because the Pundit's got a sneaky peek, and if you're not part of the Pundit program, why not? So go and sign up. Like a nice segue there, right? It's good that, yeah, it's good. Smooth. Huh? No. Okay. So the card will. I'm looking at social media there. If it's pinned in, Giblin, Pundit, Lucky. Okay, so Lucky apparently is going to be appearing on Monday again. So lots happening on Monday. On that one as well, I'll tell you, this is a super exclusive. Everyone's a super exclusive. It's not Guild Ball related, but it's super exclusive. So we've got an announcement at 8 p.m. On Monday about something quite big. So just make sure you have a look. That's all I can say at the moment. So everywhere, social media, yeah, literally the world, like 8 p.m. UK, so BST, yeah. Monday's busy, yeah. Paul Giblin.
Just another point about Lucky is I've seen a few people asking about his tournament legality. Just for complete clarity, he will be tournament legal on the 18th of August, which is his release date, effectively at Gen Con.
It's Lucky. Yep.
Say TBD. We're back to that.
So the question is, on the reboxes, obviously if we're looking to do these 6-man boxes, will we see a mascot being added for the butchers essentially? No. Sorry, for the Solfecian. I can never say that word. Solfecian. There you go. See? Is that right? Solfecian. There you go. I'm gonna tell it off. There you go. So will we see another mascot to make? Because obviously the amount of models we have making the 6-man teams. I can neither confirm or deny that one. So such a cop out, but I'm going to go with that. So there you go.
We'll find out on a Monday.
Probably on a Monday, you know, like sign up to any waiting list you can find to sign up to it. You probably get something out of it. So.
Probably Sherwin and Bryce. Out of the Season 3 characters that have been released, because as a Butchers and a Masons player, I've got a lot of use out of Veteran Ox, but granted, I'm surprised to see her in my tournament tray. Which player do you feel, fluff-wise or gameplay-wise, is like embedded in the game to the best desire, if that makes sense? Which have you felt fits nicely in? Because I don't see much of Crucible, but I really like her backstory.
So if you had to play Veteran Ox or Granite, which would you play? Does that summarise that, pretty much?
Out of the Season 3 players, which has fit the design brief?
Okay.
As intended the most?
So the question is, out of the Season 3 players, which of them has fit the design brief the most and kind of we're really, really, really happy with? Yeah.
It's another easy one. You just say all of them.
You first.
That's the company line.
Who was released in Season 3?
It's Crucible, Paintpot, Grace and Benediction.
Actually, Grace and Benediction are real hard to argue against because they're just such a perfect example of where the fluff and the rules just sort of mesh to create these really interesting characters that both have a really strong and fun role on the battlefield that on the pitch, that no other model really does, and it just sort of fits what they do perfectly in the background as well. I think they're really cool. Beyond that, I think Paintpot, actually, I really like his, because Paintpot is just this, supposed to be the wee man in a pub that just picks fights with the biggest guy in there. And I think the fluff of that is just gotten across so perfectly in his in-game feel. And yeah, I think Paintpot actually gets my vote.
I think for me, I think again the introduction of the church was massive for the world. It's something that me and Matt have talked about way back since Season 1, about when to pull that trigger. So starting to introduce that into the world, a bit of religion is always a good thing, I think.
So yeah, like these guys say, the only thing I'll really add is Grace and Benediction, purely because going forwards, there's definitely some interesting development that we see with those guys fairly soon. TBD to make him happy. And you know, brain pad and memory are pretty cool. Anybody else?
Pretty good.
Yeah, and Hag as well, and and Locus. They're all great.
Basically Season 3, so if you're not at a Guild Ball, go and check it out.
Unfortunately, I don't have a mic, but from a personal aspect, from the development work that was done, I think the most impressive one is Granite, because she could have so easily been Bad Brick.
Alex just said he really likes Dark Souls. That's what he said. Yes.
With Black we at some point ever see an apprentice who also has a keyword mascot?
So the question is, in the blacksmiths, we've seen this master and apprentice role, and there's been some talk around there not being a mascot, and could we see one at some point? It's a great question. Like, I don't know. People like mascots.
Yeah, I get it that like I get it that obviously like people like mascots, but the sort of master apprentice team building thing, like from a design point of view, the keyword mascot only matters from a team building point of view, and that would be superseded by master or apprentice, so there would be no point. Sorry, do you just say you want an animal?
Yes. Let's try that.
I mean, theoretically, maybe. There's no reason saying we can't.
There might be an animal.
Let's try
on a Monday, probably. Check out to the waiting list. They'll probably tell you through there. Yeah.
Phil Bowens beat you there, like.
Kind of on the same subject, before showing, like, what's the fluff with regards to the blacksmiths being able to have 6 players on the field whilst everybody else has 5 players and a critter?
So basically, why are blacksmiths cheats and can have 6 players where everyone else gets 5 and a mascot?
So basically, there's nothing in the rules saying they have to have a mascot. That's the honest answer. It's a lame cop-out, but at the same time, in our world, there are certain things which are conventions that's always existed. So teams have always tended to have a mascot for whatever reason. There will be going forward some of the teams, as we talked about, as the sport evolves within the world, as it kind of becomes more of those formative years, people will start pushing against various different things and saying, well, do we have to have a mascot? Just because everybody does. Where does it say in the rules, here's a mascot?
One team does have a giant bear as well at the moment. I didn't notice that, so that's kind of okay though, right? Another team's got like a engineered crab essentially as well, but that's cool. So yeah.
With farmers in the box, they can take grace and benediction.
Yes.
Is there anything tied in with the religious aspect of that with the farmers? With grace and benediction, obviously having similarities to Black Hearts and Snakeskin before, is that because one of the farmers' captains died coming in? And is there any reason why they haven't got avarice and greed like every other guild has?
Yeah. So the question is regarding the unions, the union that the farmers can have, grace and benediction. Is there a fluff reason or a story reason why that is potentially? So, Sherwin?
Yeah. So yes, done. So all of the farmers are from, or tend to be, mostly from Prievo, which is our big holy city within the Empire of the Free Cities for the Solthesian Order. And as a result, most of them are Solthesian in terms of their beliefs. Now, it's probably worth talking about that's not quite the same as Grace and Benediction, who are very much an active member of the church or the order in that sense. Just because you have that sort of piety too. Someone like Veteran Spigot, for example, is Solthesian as well, but it's not a rule on his card purely because his faith is much lesser, for example, than a paladin such as Benediction. So yes, there's that. There's also the element that we have in the season 3, and if you guys haven't read it, sorry, spoilers, that we do have the new Bacchus who specifically sends Grace and Benediction to go be the wardens of the farmers after they've invested a lot of money into them, and that sort of an influence into that. So that's kind of the reason why we're seeing Grace and Benediction as farmers, if that makes sense.
And why avarice and greed aren't part of that, basically.
Grace and Benediction have a very unique sort of art style, a very profile with robes and very, very artistic. I really like it. Are we ever going to get a team of them? Because I really have another team of those guys.
So, Grace and Benediction, they look awesome. Are we ever going to get a team based around the same style of those players? TBD. Yeah, TBD on that one.
You don't like to release awesome models.
Yeah.
Because blacksmiths don't have a defined captain, what's my first chibi going to be?
Oh, the blacksmith, right. So what's the first blacksmith chibi going to be? Because they don't have a specific captain. Obviously, I just need to make 6, right? And that's Anvil's pretty cool. Yeah. Be pretty cool. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so trying to think of how to phrase the question properly in the brain and staying good right. But going back to Skull, James seems to affectionately think it looks like me. Yeah.
Actually, no.
It's not fair,
Like this one.
When will I be getting some royalties?
After I get my Tapper royalties, mate. Come on, wait 3.5 years.
That's not my actual question. My actual question is like, so earlier we were asked about them being, if he was a union, but obviously there he's got his own symbol. Whenever we show a card up, like the farmers earlier, they had their own symbol. Yeah. Not taking a leap of faith because we discussed this with that's the rat catcher symbol. Is that a hidden in plain sight spoiler that he's not actually going to play for a union, but he's actually
So the question is the Ratcatcher symbol on that picture some sort of super spoiler that we're giving away? Again, we designed this last SteamCon, if you remember. We're doing the same again this year. Wait till SteamCon. Yep. Next question. Yeah. So rookies, they keep coming up. Like rookie here, like still struggling. So rookies, are they going to be a thing at some point? Again, I think Matt covered this in the last kind of Q&A. We just haven't found the place, and as a design team, we're not just going to churn something out of us. It's just not how we operate. We want to make sure it's a fun experience, it's engaging, it's worthwhile to the customer to purchase the item and enjoy it. And we just haven't found the space with rookies. So they may have in the space. In a couple of years' time, they may just completely find the spark in the team. We're constantly firing ideas around. We just don't know. So right now they're not planned. So. Yeah, we really like the idea. We still like the concept, but we just can't find the fit, basically. So, yeah. I've got 2 more questions left, so I'll choose people I haven't chose, ideally. Mr. Clare.
With the blacksmiths, with the organised play done, obviously they choose a captain out of one of the masters. Is there going to be a set way for them to do that in events? Are you going to have to choose a captain in the whole event, or are you going to be able to pick your captain based on what you're facing?
Okay, yeah, so the question is about organised play and blacksmiths, because obviously the way they're selected is a little different because of the master and the apprentice rules. So Bryce should be able to cover this.
Yeah, so essentially when any other team would pick a captain and mascot at the start of before the start of the game, the blacksmiths will pick a master and apprentice pairing is the current way that I believe we're going to try and do it. Yes. Like you could play. So he was just asking. They could swap captains per game. Yes, the blacksmiths could play in a 5-round tournament and use a different master as a captain every game.
Which is pretty sweet. You asked the question, Kevin. Yeah. Anyone else? I will finish with you, Kev. Go on.
With the alternate deployments that you've recently doing.
Yes.
Are you going to look at possible versions where you have more players, like 7 aside or even 11 aside?
Yeah. So, a really good question about the alt formats we've put out recently. So, you've seen like the alt deployment formats, etc. Is there ever going to be ones that have got 7, 8 players in them, for instance, things like that? The answer is yeah. We're gonna, we've loved the response from you guys on these kind of things we're throwing out there. These things help us inform our, potentially internal design decisions, but also give different ways to play Guild Ball, which is we're really keen on. So no doubt you're going to see more articles appear from the dev team as they get a chance. And again, the feedback you give us, enjoying them and that, we love reading the Facebook comments and, how these have gone down, etc. Good or bad, it really does help us and keeps us going. So. Cool. I think that's it. So thank you everyone for listening.